Hi, so in next 10 minutes we are going to learn how to write a REST API using Spring Boot. So let's get into it, and please get your laptops. Don't write it, don't watch this video while sitting in a blanket or somewhere because that won't make sense. Inside Spring Initializer, just open this. You will get this Spring Initializer. This is where we are going to create a Spring Boot project. I'm starting from the very basic. Whatever is selected, keep it. Java, Gradle, Groovy, what it is, it's a build tool. We'll talk about it afterwards. The Spring Boot version, don't touch it. Just change the name. We can write Spring Boot REST API demo. Just name it. Jar properties JDK21. Most stable one, and it is in between. Looks good. One dependency we need. Why we need dependencies? Further in the lectures we can talk about it. What are dependencies? Why we need them? For the time being, we just need one because we are making REST API. We are going to use build web, including RESTful web applications. Click on generate. The moment you click on generate, a zip folder get created. Just go to the folders. It must be inside downloads. Extract all, extract Spring Boot REST API demo. Fine. Let's go to IntelliJ, file, open, go to your users, win, downloads, wherever it is. You can use Eclipse, you can use anything. What was the name? Spring Boot REST API demo, right? Spring Boot REST API demo. The folder it is got extracted, the Gradle, actually the project, that is the black sign you can see, right? Just click on that, please. Click on OK, new window. Till this point, I hope this is clear. You might be getting this found invalid Gradle JVM configuration. If this is the point you get, don't leave it here, please. And don't go to internet to solve this issue. Go to Gradle. Understand, whenever a Spring Boot application get created, the two folders get created with it. One the Gradle, one the SRC. Inside Gradle, there's Gradle wrapper properties. It simply says that whatever the SDK you have created, inside build.gradle you see. What is inside build.gradle? You have selected Java language 21 and the dependency which you remember I told you to select at that time got here. So during the project, if you need any more dependency, you can write it here. Okay. Inside Gradle wrapper properties, just go there and write there 8.14. This is the one which is compatible with JDK21. You click on this button, the blue button. It will start the Gradle daemon and it will download all the dependencies from the internet or a repository, whatever you want to understand for the time being. Okay, fine. I think it will take some time. We can fast forward this particular part. Okay, awesome. So the build Gradle has been created. Gradle has been built. Now you can see it has identified it as a Java application. Fine. The first thing first, you will run your Spring Boot application. How to run a Spring Boot application? You can see the green buttons here. You can see the run here. You can see here. Just click on this. Click on Spring Boot run. First and the foremost thing which you will do is run your Spring Boot application. It should run. Then we'll write the REST API for it. Linkage error occurred. Okay. What's the error? Always read the errors. Somewhere 17 it is picking up during the time of running the application. Can you see the application name at the top? Click there. You will see edit configurations at the top. Just go there. Whenever you face these sort of issues, please check your configurations. Java 17 is selected. Go to Java 21. Apply. Okay. Reason being, in build.gradle it is 21. You selected 21. You have made your Gradle compatible 21. Why at the time of running it is 17 selected? Correct? So that's why inside edit configuration you will just select that. Once done, you will run your application again. You can just click on that green button. It will run again. Now I'm hoping it should run. Yes. The moment you see this particular Spring, that means your code has started working. Your Spring web application has run. Now, for a web application to run, you always need a server. Imagine right now I'm not going to run this void main and get your output on the console. What I want, a URL. A REST API is what? A URL. A URL goes to server, asks for a create a request, ask for a response, and you get a response on a browser. So for that you need a server. Previously, before Spring Boot, in Spring MVC there was a Tomcat server. You put it in Spring Boot. You have an embedded server. Can you see here Tomcat has started on 8080? What does it mean? That means Spring Boot does have a server, but it is inside. You don't have to do anything about it. Now coming to the most important part, that is how to write a REST API. You always see wherever you go in a Spring Boot project, there is always a controller. Inside a controller, there is a class. Let's create a class API controller. Let's name it API controller. Now we have just one method for this: public string get message. Now this method, what it does nothing. It just returns you a string. Return hi, I am a REST API. Okay, I hope you guys are following till this point. Semicolon outside. Now I have called it a controller. Spring Boot also need to know that it's a controller. Simple logic. It's a computer. It needs to know that who am I. You write here annotations. Now what annotation does in Spring Boot? Annotations basically tell them this class what is the purpose of it. How the Spring Boot will learn. As Java starts with void main. There is nothing else. No sorcery, no logic, nothing new in Spring Boot. It will start with void main. It has this run method overridden. This loads all the beans in Spring Boot. We'll talk about them further. But how to tell a Spring Boot application that this is a controller? You will write at the REST controller at the top. These are annotations. One more annotation which you should remember in the case of REST APIs is @get mapping. We have 4 different annotations for this: get, post, put, delete. For the time being, just for the introduction purpose, we are going to use a get mapping. Inside that, you will write a path. Fetch. Let's write fetch. What is a path? If you must have seen any, let's suppose I have youtube.com. So if I write http://youtube.com, this is a path. After slash, this is a path. That's what I'm trying to put here. Okay, so I've put a path /fetch. Now what I'm expecting, when I hit /fetch, I should get this as a response. Correct? Now let's run this application. This is where you should understand what a REST API is. The moment I run the application, I'm not writing anywhere system.out.println. Understand this thing. I'm not writing system.out.println, so I'm not gonna get a response in the console, and that's what we are achieving here. The times when you used to get a console output is gone, right? It's not a Java project, right? You are making a web application out of it. It is saying I have started on 8080 port, server has started, context path is /. We'll talk about context path. Get mapping is /fetch. What you have to do, go to your Google Chrome, local host, whatever the server port, 8080 /. I might have hit get for the time being, but right now we know it is fetch. Let's hit it. Hi, I am a REST API. And that's how you write a REST API in Spring Boot. It's quite simple. What we have done, just do a quick recap. We went to Spring Initializer. We selected the pre-selected notions, whatever the pre-selected options. We added only one dependency, that was Spring RESTful applications. We went inside the code. We extracted that. We imported that inside our IntelliJ. Inside IntelliJ, we saw that first error we got is the Gradle error. We went to Gradle folder. Inside Gradle wrapper.properties, we added 8.14 as a version. After that, what happened? We tried to run our Spring Boot application. Again, it created a problem. At the top right corner, what you saw, edit configurations. There you set up the JDK Java 21, whatever the Java you have selected. Your Spring Boot application started working. Now you wanted to write a REST API. That is an API. API means anything that will give you a response through a URL. So what we did, we created a controller. We wrote 2 annotations at the REST controller that this class is the controller. Inside this class, I've written all the endpoints. We call them endpoints, the path variables. Okay. Then you have written @get mapping. For the time being, we are using @get mapping. Further, I will teach you post, put, delete. What are those? Okay. Inside get mapping, you wrote the part /fetch. Now in the fetch, there was a method. String get message. Return hi, I am a REST API. Inside this get mapping /fetch, it said whenever you will hit me from any server, you get hi, I am a REST API. Now, what might have happened? You know what actually happens? You create a jar of it. You build this project. You make a jar file of it. You put it inside a server on anywhere, AWS server or anywhere over the internet. Whenever you will hit the domain name. Now, what is the domain name? You might, in your website, you might have selected, like let's suppose tech inside fusion, right? Tech inside fusion slash fetch. It will give you hi, I am REST API. And that's how the APIs work. Any doubts, any confusion, please write down in the comments. See you next time.